forward, but I don't know what's going to happen. Okay? Looks like we're recording. Okay, so here's the deal. Here's what I would like to do. So today, I would like to cover chapters 22 and 23. They're very similarly related. Maybe I'll do it this way. Chapter 22 deals with one proportion tests, and chapter 23 deals with two proportion tests. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to give you your formulas right off the bat, and then we're going to go over these. I'd ideally love to get through 3 hypotheses, which means we've got about 15 minutes each. So we're going to go fast, okay? The formula for the one proportion z test is going to be z equals p hat minus p over the square root of pq divided by n, okay? The confidence interval is p hat plus or minus z sub alpha over 2 times the square root of pq over n. Okay? I'm going to give you the formulas right off the bat, so if we run out of time, you'll at least have had the formulas. For the two proportion z test, it's going to be z equals p1 hat minus p2 hat over the square root of p hat q hat times, sorry, let me do that again, p hat q hat times the square root of 1 divided by n1 plus 1 over n2. Okay? Now, I was really surprised the confidence interval, oh sorry, let me give you this too. Confidence interval that I'm going to give you is p hat p1 hat minus p2 hat plus or minus z sub alpha over 2 times the square root of p1 q1 hat n1 plus p2 hat q2 hat over n2. Now, the book has a what we call the +4 formula. Do not use it. It's a dumb formula. I'm shocked that they use it. First book I've ever seen that used it. I don't like it. So just do not use the +4x, okay?
Do not use the +4 formula.
Yeah, so that's a different formula. It's section 22.5. I want you to use this formula here. It's the more common formula, and it's the better formula as far as I'm concerned. Okay? So the book is different. Use my formula. You can read through it. Basically, the difference is, okay, do you guys remember what P is? What's the formula for, yeah, it's the proportion. What's the formula?
It is
X over N. You know what they do with this? I don't know why. I have no idea why, because it's dumb, especially if you have a huge sample size. It's P equals X plus 2 over N plus 4. Why are we just adding those two numbers arbitrarily? It's dumb. Okay?
also.
That's what this is what the +4 formula is. Don't use it. Just use X over N. Okay? So, and that P hat, that also equals P hat, by the way. Okay? All right, so here's what we do. I'm going to try to time myself. We're going to do this in about 15 minutes. Okay? So we're going to do hopefully 3 hypothesis tests. Okay? So, and I will post the spreadsheet. Let's save this, share. Okay? All right, now this first one is going to be a nice, good, tricky one, so we'll start this off, okay? By the way, how big before I do that,
Over 10.
how big does your sample size have to be to do this?
30.
He said over 10, she said over 30, they're both wrong.
No, 10.
It's PQ over 30.
Oh,
NPQ has to be greater than or equal to
10.
10. And in this case, N1P1Q1 must be greater than or equal to 10. And N2P2Q2 must be greater than or equal to 10. Okay? If your sample size is too small, you shouldn't have that problem on ours, on your project. But there is another method. We're not going to learn it. Okay? So just remember, don't just say greater than 10.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? It's got to be the whole thing. All right. Okay.
Q is 1 minus P, right? Yep.
Q is 1 minus P, that's correct. Okay, so here we go. A researcher in Illinois finds that 219 of 500 students earn 22 on ACT math test.
Did you say 219 or 215?
219. Oh, I said, yeah. My fingers didn't follow what I said. Does this represent that less than half of Illinois students are prepared for college math? We're assuming that 22 is your thing. Okay? Use alpha equal 0.05. Okay, let's go through our steps. Step on a staple, this is really fun.
Much is-
Less than half a million of students are prepared for math, college math.
There we go. Okay. So what's my first step?
So in this question, is it
No.
exactly 22 or is it 22 and above? The 219.
22 and above
Okay.
is prepared for college math. So step one is
List the numbers.
list the numbers. What numbers should I list?
So,
N is 219,
or 500.
N is 500, right?
So 22 is mean. It's the average, the median is, so the mean is 22.
This is a good tricky one. I started you off with a hard one right off the bat, didn't I?
It's good.
Now let me ask you, are we looking for means or are we looking for proportions?
We're looking for proportion.
How do we know?
I'm really confused about that, and I don't know if you know like a good place online that can explain that well. Like,
Why do you need to go online when you can come to class?
I did, I've been here every day. I'm still confused though, and is there a place that you would recommend to,
Okay, so.
like, you don't have to go over it now because most people understand it.
I don't think so. I think everybody's just as lost as you are. Okay?
You
Yeah,
understand it, you understand proportion.
Chandler,
so wouldn't it be a proportion because it's 219 of 500? Yep.
219 of 500. It also says, does this represent that less than half?
Yep.
What is half?
Your proportion.
Proportion, right?
Just
Okay.
This is continuous.
Sometimes it's easier to do these steps out of order, but I'm trying to keep them in order. So, do you see now that it's a proportion?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of numbers in your proportion problems, aren't
So
there?
the mean of a proportion is the P or the P hat?
Yes. Let's label this properly. So 219 of 500, is that P or is that P hat? Can it be both? No, you got to pick one. Should we vote? Who says it's P? 1, 2, 3. Who says it's P hat? 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're tied. Okay. Why did you say p hat, Alex?
Because 219 is we're looking at a proportion of 500, so it's part of the sample.
It's part of the sample. That's the correct answer. 500 students are your sample, right? There's more than 500 students in Illinois, aren't there? Sure there are. Okay, so in this case, p hat equals 219 divided by 500. Okay. Earn a 22 on the ACT math test. What is 22?
X.
It's a distractor. It's just there. It's not, I'm sure it will distract you. It's not intended to distract you. It's just background information. 22 means you're prepared for college math. So it's information you need to know, but mathematically you don't need to know it, right?
So to understand this question.
So 22 is a waste.
22 means you pass or whatever.
22 means you pass the test. You don't have to go back and take it. Okay? All right. So that's all we have, right? Alpha, I guess I got my alpha. Alpha equals 0.05.
Do we need Q? Yeah, Q.
Do we need Q? Let's call it Q hat. Q hat equals 1 minus P, yes. If you know P hat, you know Q hat.
What exactly? Just one.
It's like-
Okay, so what's P hat?
One
The people who are prepared. What's Q hat?
It's the total.
People who are not prepared.
Okay.
Okay?
P's not in there. Equation.
P is not in the equation explicitly. Well, we'll save it. P is kind of in the equation, but it's not explicit. Okay? Let's move on to step number 2. What's step number 2?
Quantitative.
Quantitative or categorical? Who says it's quantitative?
Oh my
1.
gosh.
Who says it's categorical?
I say it's quantitative.
Yeah, I want to
I
say.
think it's.
Cade, why did you say it's categorical? Because Alex,
I think we've done all.
most honest answer yet,
I
right?
think we've done all the quantitative. Now the category.
Oh.
That's why I think it's category.
What do you think, Alex?
So I.
The whole class is depending on you.
So yeah.
No
I think
pressure.
it's categorical because it's whether you're prepared or not. It doesn't
Yes
care
or no.
what.
Pass, fail, right?
Yeah, it doesn't
Pass,
care what
fail.
number you get.
Okay, there are numbers in a categorical thing, so it's categorical. Main reason was because Alex.
It wasn't the main reason.
They're not
That's what I was
asking about
thinking too,
specific
honestly.
scores. They're just
Okay.
saying, is it above this limit?
Who studies with Alex after class, by the way?
He left.
Alex is too
I
busy?
He has no time for people.
Yeah, he goes straight to work.
All right, well, you should. Use Google Hangouts or
I
something.
definitely should go straight to work, otherwise I get fired.
All right, step number 3 is what?
Your hose and your haws.
Find the null and the alternative hypothesis. Okay? The null and the alternative.
So the null is p hat equals 0.0438. And the alternative.
Okay, let's stop there for a minute. Who agrees with her? Raise your hand.
I don't like that.
Nobody?
It's not.
Oh, 0.438, sorry.
Whatever. I typed it wrong. She said it right. Who agrees with her now?
I feel like it's not supposed to be P hat.
Who disagrees with her?
I don't know why I disagree with her, but I
Or
disagree.
does it need to be new?
2 people disagreed. You said you don't know why. Chandler?
Always hypothesizing about the population.
Is it supposed to be mu equals? Who agrees with mu equals?
It sounds better.
1, 2, 3, 4. Who disagrees? Okay, we're batting 0. Both of those are wrong.
Is it P?
Yeah,
P?
that's what I was
Why would it be
thinking. I was like,
P?
it's.
Why would it be P?
Because
Because-
that's
Proportion.
the proportion of the whole
population, and p hat is the sample, so it cannot be p hat under any circumstances.
Oh.
But it is not mu in this case either because it's a proportion. So it's going to be p equals what?
So P hat is the X bar as P is to mu.
There you go! I've been trying all semester to get you guys to remember that.
I don't even know what I said. P hat is the X bar.
P hat is to X bar as P is to mu. I've said that like 100 times this semester, but Aaron got it today. So finally, try again, right? Okay? All right, so P equals what?
Wait.
0.438? Who agrees that it's 0.438? 1, 2, 3? Four? Who disagrees? You're all still wrong. What's 0.438 represent?
But this like is P hat.
It represents P
And
hat.
we need,
We said that P hat is this. That cannot be my null hypothesis.
so to 19.
Is it 219?
No, it's not 219 because 219
Oh,
is not a
wait,
proportion.
so it's 200.
Okay, here's your key sentence here. Does this represent that less than
Yeah,
half?
0.5.
0.5.
I said 0.5 and then I screwed up because it's half. Because it's your proportion.
Because remember, the null
It's usually
hypothesis is
0.5.
not stated explicitly in the problem frequently. Half of the students are prepared.
Well, now I know what Q is.
Now we know what Q is, yes.
Because Q is
So
also
we could have maybe figured that out sooner, but I thought that would be a good place to pick it out. So if you want to, yeah, in this case, P equals 0.5,
which means Q is 0.5 is 1
which means that
P.
Q is also 0.5, right? Okay, does that make sense now? Told you I shouldn't have started you off with a tricky one right off the bat, right? Okay, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
we're
we
supposed to
are
be done with this problem. We're only on step 3.
Wait, what's to tell us what the alternative?
Okay, the alternative is
It's less than.
P is less than 0.5. Okay, step number 4, pick the test. Okay, and I'm going to do both tests in this case. What kind of test is this? It's a one proportion test. So I'm using this one here, right?
Minus P. Well,
So Z equals P hat minus P over the square root of PQ divided by M. Okay? So, Aaron, P hat is 0.438 minus 0.5 divided by the square root of, what'd you say?
0.5 times
0.5 times 0.5 divided by 500. Okay, that's,
19 is not important, right?
what'd you say?
Oh, no, that's, wait.
It's the numerator divided by the denominator. I got a z-score of negative 2.77. Step number 5,
Find your p-value.
find p-value. How do I find that? There's 2 ways,
Your chart.
chart and computer. Which one do you want to do first?
Computer, since you're already there.
Computer.
Z.
Equals z. No, yeah, but don't use those. Those are crap. I forgot they were there.
Enormous dist.
Norm S dist. There you go. Why is it norm S dist and not t dist?
Because
Because I'm using a z-score, right?
Wow.
Now, I haven't drawn my picture, so I don't know if this is going to give me the right answer, right? But I'm going to put this in here, and then you're going to tell me is that the right answer or not, or I don't know. So who says yes, it's the right answer?
I say double it.
Who says no? Who says I don't know?
I say I
Most
don't know.
everybody should have raised their hand.
Let's just do the.
Draw my picture quick, right? We're going to hurry because we're way out of time. We're going to do 3 problems. We're going to be lucky to get through 2. Okay? What's my picture? What am I drawing a picture of?
No,
Normal distribution. The mean is
0.5.
0.5. What value did we get?
0.438.
0.438. It's on the left side, right? Am I showing the left side or the right side? Left side. Okay, is that what the chart tells me?
Well, with that negative. But you
We
got
converted
the
that to
side.
a 0 and a negative 2.77, right? Does my z-score tell me the right or the left side? It tells me the left side. So is that the right answer? It is the right answer. Okay? Don't have to subtract from
If it was
one.
a t-score, you'd be screwed up. Because you...
Okay? Chart, look it up, right? Do you guys know how to look it up on the chart?
Yeah.
Okay. Quiz will be on the chart tomorrow. Step number 6. Reject or not. And we reject.
No.
Okay, step number 7. There is evidence that
Less than half of the students are prepared.
less than half of students are prepared for college.
Man, I remember when I got 27 on the ACT, but that was in 2006.
Okay? Do you want to go 2 problems for 10 minutes each? Or
Let's
you
do
want
it.
to go
Let's just do it. Let's
1
crank it. Let's
problem in
crank it.
25 minutes?
Let's crank it. Because then you can always review it on the video. Let's crank it. Let's go.
Okay. Here we go. Let's do this one. Okay? Oh, I forgot to do the confidence interval. Let's do that really quick before we do that. Confidence interval.
Formula there?
I gave you the formula already.
Oh, it's right there. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, let's do the confidence interval really quick. How do we do that, Dalton? Remember? P hat is 0.438. Which one?
Oh, mine.
We'll do the minus first. Oh, I'm going to need my z sub alpha over 2, right?
Yeah.
Z sub alpha over 2. How do I find that?
No idea.
2 ways. Chart at the computer. You probably should practice the computer because you looked on your chart. It's easy to find. On your chart, the number is right here. 95% confidence interval, it's going to be 1.96, right? How do we find this with the computer? Oh, it's on your formula sheet that you threw away.
Yeah. You weren't.
Norm as dist.
Inverse.
Inverse.
Dist gives you the p-value, inverse gives you the critical value.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the backwards. What do I want in my tail? I'm doing a 95% confidence interval. I want half of that, 0.025. Okay, and that gives me the negative on that, right? Or if I wanted to do the positive, norm as inverse, to give me the positive value, how much do I want to the left? 975, right, for a 95? Want 2.5% of the tails, okay? So you don't need your computer. This will give you a more accurate answer, right?
Yep.
Okay, so p hat times minus z sub alpha over 2 times the square root of, now let me just mention this. Do we really know what the p hat is?
No.
Rarely they'll tell you, okay? If they don't tell you the p hat, we're assuming it's 0.5, but we just rejected it, right?
Yep.
We don't believe that's true. If you know the p, use the p. If you don't know the p, which we really don't know the p, we're just saying it, we just picked 0.5 out of there, right?
Mhm.
So you'll use p hat in these cases, okay?
Okay.
If you know p, use it. If you don't,
No.
which we really don't, use p hat.
Okay.
times Q hat divided by N. And,
You did plus.
Yeah, change it to minus 2.
oh, I thought that would work. I use plus because my critical value is negative. Because I use this one instead of that one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And if I change that to F5 or G5, G4. Okay? Now, based on the confidence interval, does that represent that less than half of people are prepared?
No. No.
Yes.
What?
Why?
Oh, because it's underneath 0.5.
Both are under.
Would you say?
Both are under.
Both of these values are less than 0.5, half, right? The highest it could be is 48%, the lowest it could be is 39%. Does that make sense? Yesterday we were comparing it to 0 because there was no difference on the 0, but now we're comparing it to 0.5. Both of those values are less than 0.5.
All right, 2 more questions. You got this in 7 minutes. Let's go.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, let's get on with the 2 proportion stuff.
Okay, you can watch the rerun. All right, let's do one more.
Problem is when I noticed that, I don't know if anyone else had this problem with the video, but it was like anything that you put on the spreadsheet was super blurry on the YouTube.
It was? Usually it's pretty good.
Oh, I had that he sent the Excel sheet.
Yeah, so
And I
maybe I should.
Yeah, you
because
can pull up the
I never-
spreadsheet.
Yeah, I just go to this.
I'm surprised that it was blurry because it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Usually it's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, let's do another one. Okay?
Can we do a 2 proportion test since we're running out of time? Please.
You want to do a 2?
Please.
All right, of 2103 patients in the treatment group, 547 had headaches as a side effect. Of 1671 patients in the control group, 368 had headaches. Is there evidence that drug group had more headaches? Okay,
All right.
got 15 minutes. We're going to have to hustle. Okay, so step 1, find the numbers.
So you got N1 and N2.
So N1 equals 2103 and 2. In fact, you might want to, instead of calling this N1, call this N drug and N control. That might be easier
Okay.
rather than N1 and N2. Okay.
1671.
And control had 1671. What else?
Your-
Alpha.
Alpha
0.05.
0.05. P hat for the drug group,
It's 547 divided by 21.
547 divided by
21.
2103. P hat for the control
368.
equals 368 divided by.
1671.
Okay, so it's 22 versus 26. That seems pretty close, right? Do you think there's a difference there? It's kind of hard to tell. We've got a big sample size though, right?
Yeah. So
Don't have to check if when you have 1,600 in your group, it's going to be greater than 10. Okay? All right. Step number 2,
cat.
categorical, because
Because we're dealing with proportion.
headache or no headache, right?
Okay.
Okay? It's categorical. Step number 3,
It's
no, and the alternative
The E of the drug is
P of the drug is what? Equal to P of the control. And the alternative is,
P drug is less than
Yeah.
more, or more, it's more.
yeah, we need the drug to have more headaches, right?
Yep.
They're giving people headaches. That would suck, right? Unless you had cancer or something, it would suck as bad as the cancer. Okay?
All right, 4.
All right, that's right. Step number 4,
Take your T proportion test.
find the test. And so do you see the difference between the 1 and the 2 proportion test?
Yep.
Okay, sometimes people get mixed up on that. They call the 1 proportion 2. Generally, people can tell the 2s, but they can't. Sometimes they think the 1s are 2s. Okay, so we're using so this is going to be a z equals
P hat,
P
P hat 1.
1 hat minus P2 hat.
Minus P2 hat.
Okay, that's what I meant. Over, and this is a little weirder in the denominator, square root. Oh, you know what? Actually, this is good. This says P hat, right? Times Q hat. Times, this one's kind of weird. Square root of 1 divided by N1 plus 1 over N2. Now, in this case, we need to figure out what is P hat, okay? P hat is what we refer to as the pooled estimate, okay? And I did not write that on the board, I should have, okay? It's going to be x1 plus x2 over n1 plus n2, okay? So essentially what we're going to do in this case is we're going to add up all the people with the headaches, the 547 plus the 368, okay?
Let's do it.
And we're going to add up the 2 sample sizes, the 2103 plus the 1671, okay? So you can imagine that now my sample sizes aren't quite the same, but it was probably in the middle. It's going to be between 22 and 26%. It's going to be that divided by that. Okay? So I probably should have added that on here. P hat in this case equals x1 plus x2 over n1 plus n2.
Right.
That's an important addition that I didn't write on the board. Okay? And this is what we call the pooled estimate.
The pooled estimate?
Mm-hmm.
We call the people that pee in the pool.
I
I
have a
guess so.
question. So that we had, what about the other P hat that we have?
This is P hat of the drug. This is P hat. This is just plain
Yeah,
old.
it's
This is
separate.
plain old P hat.
Everything.
P hat of everything.
Okay.
Okay? So you can think of this as P1 and this is P2 hat. Okay? All right, so now this one can be a little bit tricky to type in on the computer correctly.
All these
Tricky to
P,
put on
like
the
the pooled
calculator.
estimate, that's just something we should know. It's not on the sheet.
That one might not be on. Is it on there? It should be.
I don't know, mine's thrown away.
I might need to add that up. I'll make sure I print out new sheets tonight. Okay? So P1 hat, we got 10 minutes left. Okay? P1 hat in this case is drug minus P2 hat, which is
You're not.
Going to
the control group. Okay? The square root of
You're tricky.
oh yeah, P1, Q1. So P1 hat, so that's going to be the pooled estimate times 1 minus the pooled estimate. I didn't figure out Q hat, but it's about 76%. Okay? And then I've got, this one you're going to definitely want to use parentheses. The square root of 1 divided by N1, which is my drug group, plus 1 divided by N2. Okay? So when you do this, you're going to get the numerator divided by this times that, which gives me 2.83. Okay? At this point, it feels like it's a good time to draw a picture. What is going on? 2.839. Let me write that down. So I'm going to write that on the board. Okay. What can I erase? Here,
Yeah, you're good. Erase the previous picture.
That's fine.
I'll erase the previous picture, it's not correct anyway. Okay, what's going on? What am I drawing a picture of?
Bibliothetics.
Distribution.
Normal distribution,
Over there too.
okay? What do we assume in the value should be equal according to the null hypothesis? P1 is equal to P2, and if you subtracted them, the difference would be 0. How many standard deviations away am I?
Probably over
2.83, it's on the right side, correct?
Yep.
I think that's what the number was. Which side am I shading?
Is that right?
The right side, is that what Excel's gonna tell me?
No,
No,
so you need to subtract.
so you need to subtract it, okay? All right.